Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I am here showing off my Darklord deck list. This is the deck list that I built in paper. I figured you might as well want to see it for TCG play, but it is Darklord Shaddoll, and this is definitely more of like a budget build, just kind of things that I have pulled together from various different boxes and stuff like that. This is not an optimized build. This is more so just what I happen to play, in case anyone was wondering. It's not good. I'll just tell you that right now. And I'm playing 45 cards, and you will see why in a little. So yeah, let's move on with the card by card. So first off, we have obviously the 3 Darklord Ixchel. This card is a Pot of Greed, as well as setting up your graveyard for Darklords. This is essential for Darklords. Insanely good, very valuable. This is the only 3 of Darklord that I actually play. As I mentioned, I'm also playing Shaddolls, and most of the other Darklord cards are much better in like pure Darklords or require more Darklords. And I also built this like 2 years ago now, and I haven't changed much with it. But I haven't gotten my indulged Darklord. So I still need that. That card's really good. I also don't have Uko back, so there's that. Those are the 2 cards that I would probably add and have indulged as well at 3. Then moving on, we have the 2 of Nastin. This card's really good in Darklord heavy hands. Other than that, it's kind of weak. Sometimes you can send it off of an Ixchel as well, which gets another body onto the field. But most of the time, you only want the 2 of these. We have the 1 Superbia, the 1 Tez, and the 1 Amdusk. So I'm running 1 of each of these because, again, Superbia you kind of only want to see with the other 2 being Ixchel and Nastin. The Amdusk you search off of your banishment in order to actually add back a Morningstar. That's most of the time what you're going to end up doing. And then the Tez is only good occasionally, and again, most of the time you're going to end up searching it in order to protect yourself. So there's that. And then the big boss monster we have, of course, the 1 Morningstar. Don't really need more of this card because you can grab it back with this guy, the Amdusk. And yeah, that's kind of it. Also, most of the time you're using him to go into the fusion. So moving on, we have all of the Shaddoll cards. So we have Shaddoll Hedgehog, we have Shaddoll Dragon, and Shaddoll Falco. These are all of the 1 of Shaddolls. Shaddoll Falco's okay sometimes. It basically brings itself back and gives you another Shaddoll body on the field. Shaddoll Hedgehog allows itself to search out a monster. Any Shaddoll monster, which is very nice. And Shaddoll Dragon comes up occasionally to deal with like back row and stuff like that. But this is also mostly so that I can side it out as well for other such cards. Or just other cards in general, in case I'm not going up against back row. So yeah. There's that. Then we have the 2 of Beast. Again, this is a card where you don't really want to see it, but it's incredibly useful. Seeing it in your hand is not great, but if you're able to send it off of a Shaddoll Fusion, it's great. It's a draw 1. Really solid. Also, if you're able to summon it off of a Falco here, then you're able to actually get even more advantage by flipping it up and drawing 2 and then discarding 1, which is really great for the deck. Then we have the 2 Squamata to basically send off of Shaddoll Fusion or just anything in general. It's got a good flip effect as well. Target a card, destroy it. Really solid. And just overall, they're very solid to have at 2 ofs. Wouldn't play more than that, though. Moving on to my random 1 ofs that I have. So we have 1 Lord of the Heavenly Prison. This card is not great in this deck, but I am playing a bunch of back row because back row just kind of helps kind of clean up a few matchups here or there, or, you know, maybe you'll see it with a few of the problem cards. And this card is really good with your back row. And since Darklords also play a lot of traps, I figured, hey, might as well. This card's also insane. I would not be surprised to see this eventually come forward and be like a ban-worthy card in the future. It's actually insane. It really makes back row decks problematic. Then we have the 1 Christia. This card can be summoned off of Superbia as well as Valhalla Hall of the Fallen, but most importantly is that little symbol right there. It's a light. It's mostly just for Shaddoll stuff, but you can also switch into more of a Floodgate style with this card and Valhalla in order to basically prevent everyone from special summoning. And a 2800 body, really nice. And then the Mathematician, this is literally just because of the fact that it's Earth and it has slight synergy with Shaddolls. So that's kind of it. Moving on, we have ourselves the triple Allure of Darkness. So yeah, moving on to the spells, I should say. Let me actually move out all of these monsters real quick for you. So yeah, the triple Allure of Darkness. This card just says draw two, basically, for the deck. Very solid. Allows you to get more of your engine pieces, and more specifically allows you to get into, or like unbrick some of your hands, right? Say you have a beast, like a Shaddoll beast or something like that in hand. You can just kind of banish that, and then you're able to more so fix your hand. We have the 3 Shaddoll Fusion. I mean, it's Shaddoll Fusion. It's a great go second card, as well as just in general, it's a really solid card. Winda is a heck of a card. We have 3 Banishment of the Dark Lords. This is the search for the deck, and we have, of course, the triple Monster Reborn for the deck, Contact. So all, or both of these, I should say, are incredibly important to Dark Lords, and yeah, that's basically it. You kind of need those. And then I have 3 one-of spells that are really good. So these 2 are currently limited to 1. If I had the option to play more, I would. Called by the Grave is insanely good if you're going up against hand traps. And then Monster Reborn is insanely good because it's basically just copies... Well, it's copy 4 of Contact. So very nice. And then Super Polymerization. I have a few Super Poly targets in the Grave, as well as it does get you to first Darklord a little bit faster as well. And it's just a really solid card. I have some more in the side deck as well. Moving on to the traps. So, 3 Lost Wind. This card is really solid, really good. And yeah, that's basically it. It's one of the best, if not the best, like cheap options when it comes to traps. I got it in a structure deck, so it's incredibly cheap, and it just says negate and decrease the attack by 1,000 or by half. So really solid. It also brings itself back. Moving on, Bottomless, just a random trap that I have. Imperm. I would max out on this if you can. It's a hand trap. It's very solid. And it's also a trap. So it's just really good. The One Canadia and Warning Point. This card is also very nice. It prevents them from basically using the material that's summoned onto the field as anything from the extra deck for that turn. It also negates its effect. So very nice. Moving on. We have the Darklord traps. We have the Sanctified, the Rebellion, and the Uprising, and then the, let's see if you can see that, the Enchantment. So all of those there. Yeah, just one of each. I don't think you really need more than that. The only thing I would say to add more of is maybe Rebellion. Just having a non-target destruction effect is incredibly nice, and that's about it. That's all that I would add or change. Maybe you could take out Enchantment. It's very nice from time to time, but sometimes it's just kind of doesn't matter. All right, so for the extra deck, we have 2 copies of the first Darklord. Honestly, you could cut this down to 1. It rarely comes up that you will ever need a second one, but it's a cool card. You make it off of Morningstar, and you nuke the field. You do that during your opponent's turn as well, which is really crazy. You do it like during the end phase or something along those lines. But yeah, really solid card. Definitely helps the deck run a little bit smoother. And then on top of that, or moving on, we have the Shaddoll cards. The Shaddoll fusions. We have 2 Construct. It's a light. It's very nice, and yeah, pretty solid. Then we have the double Winda. So this card is the one that you will make most often. It's basically just the floodgate of the archetype. It says each player can only special summon 1 time, and that's basically it. It also is pretty difficult to get rid of since it can't be destroyed. So there's that. However, most decks now are playing outs to this pretty handily, and in a lot of different ways. So who knows? It's good, but it's not great. Moving on, we have the 1 Shekinaga and the 1 Apkallone. Shekinaga is really nice. It's basically just a negate for special summoned monsters, so if they are very focused on special summoning monsters and stuff like that, you could just summon out this and then negate their board, or negate whatever it is. So very nice. It does require Shaddoll in your hand, though, but very nice. And then moving on, we have Apkallone. This is more so for corner cases, in case you have something that you need to get rid of. Say you have a Winda and another like a Shekinaga or a Construct or something like that. You basically get those two off of the field in order to go into more plays with this guy. So, and then we have the super polymerization targets. We have the Mud Dragon and the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Both of these very solid. And yeah, that's basically it. Moving on to the XCs, we have the two rank 10s. Ixchel is the only card that is level 10 in the deck. So yeah, overlay those for the two Super Dreadnoughts. Very nice, very solid cards. And then we have a double Azaius Sky Thunder. It's an insane card, and I have it randomly. I pulled it from a pack, and I decided, hey, I'll throw it in here since I have some Xyz and I have some extra deck space. Might as well. And then the two Link monsters, we have a Nightmare Unicorn and the thing that actually makes this deck any good, which is Condemned Darklord. It kind of fixes your hand as well, in case you need to search out your Morningstar or something like that, or search out a Tez or what have you. And then on top of that, it also allows you an additional Tribute Summon. So very, very solid card. Definitely should be playing more of this, but it's expensive, so I'm not. Do I need to be playing more? No, and I think that's the important part. As a budget list, this is pretty nice. Moving on to the side deck. Here we have the Triple Twin Twister. This card is very nice for specifically going second for those back row matchups. And yeah, that's... I mean, it's also good going first. It's just a good card for back row in general. I would also be playing something like a Harpy's Feather Duster. I don't have any, but I definitely play that as well. It's an insane card. We have the two of Lava Golem. Lava Golem's just really good. You don't really need your normal summon too much in this in this deck, because you could play more of a control style with things like Winda and such. But I mean, Lava Golem, insane card. Very nice to out problematic bosses. We have the two other super polys, as well as the super poly, as well as the other Archlord Christia. So I'm only playing the two, including the side deck, but the two extra polymerizations, super polys. And then we have the Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen. This card goes really well with the Christia, which is why it's in the side deck. If I want to side deck in more of a Floodgate strategy with Christia, then I do that. But yeah. That's basically it. We have the one of Tez as well. Having another Tez if they are going for a lot of like board wipes is very nice. So there's that. We also have one additional Sanctified in there as well. I happened to have this. I think I have 3 of this, and so I figured, hey, might as well just throw it in the side deck. It's better than most other like side decking cards. I would probably move this out for something like a Harpy's Feather Duster or something along those lines, but I don't really have the best side deck. We have Raigeki, Chainhole, and this card, which basically says, hey, if your opponent has a lot of Link monsters, you could special summon this card. That's kind of it. If I'm playing against a heavy Link focused strategy and I get myself like a Condemned out onto the field, it can be useful, but most of the time it doesn't really come up. All 3 of these kind of don't come up. Raigeki's nice occasionally, but it's nothing special. Anyway, that's it for the deck list and the side deck and all of that stuff. As I said, this is a very much so a budget version of the deck, so it's nothing like perfect, but I like it. I think it's fun. It's definitely really enjoyable. I've been able to beat quite a few competent archetypes and competent strategies, even though this deck list is not perfect. So yeah, it's very fun. It's got a very nice skill ceiling, so you can express your own play style very well. And I would highly suggest picking up Darklords, except they're actually very expensive, so do with that what you will. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.